Capricorn that's happening on June 27th, 2018. I'm Adrienne Elise. Well, this is a powerful full moon because the moon is right there hanging out with Saturn in Capricorn, home in Capricorn. So this is a pretty powerful full moon, bringing forward all January and February of this year, and it's speaking to what's coming in the 2020 astrology, which is that Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto all coming together in Capricorn. And what is this about? So the moon is kind of a precursor. It's kind of pointing to 20 astrology, as well as back to January. And Saturn is at home in Capricorn, and we've talked about how Saturn rules authority, rules, father, law, and what's obstacles. So in the chart, our birth chart, Saturn has this energy of like what's in the way of your true path, like what's obstructing you. And so Saturn can be kind of a pain when you have Saturn transits, but it's really about adjustments that need to be made to truly be on your true path, to truly be using your whole set of skills and doing what you really want to do here. Sometimes that just doesn't look like what we thought. And that's where Saturn comes in. So Saturn is also about authority, and it speaks in Capricorn about authority, like where have we given away our authority, our power to authority? And so this is pretty highlighted right now as on this Capricorn Cancer axis, because on the full moon, the moon is in Capricorn, the sun is in Cancer, so it's opposite. Now the North Node will be moving into Cancer later this fall, and so we're also kind of getting a little precursor of that energy too, and because so we're looking at, so it's really easy to see this axis, the energy, how it plays out, because we have like authority energy where we have a claim our authority, our gifts and skills of past lives, our expertise in this world. It's also where we've given away our authority, and the most place where we've given away our authority is in exchange for our needs being met, our basic needs being met. So that is what Cancer is about. Cancer is nurturing and home and safety and security, and it's ruled by the moon. So this Capricorn full moon is really intense, with the moon right there hanging out with Saturn in Capricorn, directly opposing the sun in Cancer, and speaking to this. So we're having a lot of energy for this full moon kind of being like, where are you feeling limited in your life? Where have you given away your power and authority? Where can you claim your personal spiritual autonomy? Where can you surrender to going beyond the game of karma and onto that true path, outside of obstacles, and onto that true spiritual autonomy and spiritual sovereignty? Feeling like I am actually in charge of my life. It's not up to the man or the authority or my relationship with my parents or anything like that. It's like, okay, I'm going to take charge of my reality. And so there's a huge opportunity here for us. And Saturn in Capricorn is bringing this energy home for the next 2 years, 2.5 years. And so we are feeling it so strongly, and this full moon is bringing that forward and showing us where we've given our power away so that we can take it back. We're also feeling right before this full moon, Mars takes its retrograde, and Mars is in Aquarius. So this is really potent because Mars is in Aquarius, but it retrogrades back into Capricorn in July. And so I think that happens on, actually not till August. It will retrograde back into Capricorn. So we're looking at all of this energy of Mars retrograde in Aquarius is like, how do we move forward? Mars the warrior wants to go make things happen. How do we do that in the Aquarian age? It's a different energy. It's a whole different paradigm is trying to land on the planet, and Mars is like trying to figure out how to, like, what does that mean for the warrior inside of us that wants to just move forward and make stuff happen. And so then it's interesting because Mars retrogrades back into Capricorn, and so we're looking at the Capricorn issues that may be keeping us from moving in to the Aquarian age, right? Like giving our authority away to a paradigm that doesn't actually truly fit the human condition, the human essence, the human evolution, the human spiritual evolution, because we have been manipulated and controlled and lied to on massive levels, And so it's like there is this false authority energy that we bought into. You can look at it in the Piscean age, It's like, oh, there's this God out there, and are you good or are you bad? And are you going to get rewarded? Or are you going to get punished? And that is exactly the metaphor of this whole karmic cycle that we're in humanity, and we're kind of stuck here. We've been stuck here for far too long, and we've got to move forward, but we have to be willing to stand up for integrity. There's new leaders that are trying to come forward in integrity that is like what the Aquarian paradigm is, what's good for all of us. Like, we can make this world work. We've got the technology, we've got the innovation. We've got, we can take care of each other. We can take care of the planet. We can make it all work for everybody. Okay, that's the positive aspects of the Aquarian energy. And so we're looking at the authoritarian structures. Okay, with Pluto in Capricorn, and Jupiter will be in there in 2020, and Saturn, it's like, okay, yeah, we have some issues with giving our power away, humanity. And it's like, we've been allowing ourselves to be slaves and controlled by these forces of the universe, our off-planet, extraterrestrial interference with our human evolution, and it's time to take it back. So that's really what this Capricorn full moon is talking about. And so expect to be shown, or it could happen in your life to be shown, where have you given your power away and how can you take it back? And so leading up to this full moon, we've got Venus making a square with Jupiter. So Venus is in Leo, the opposite of Aquarius, and will have just had a powerful opposition with Mars. And so Venus is in Leo is talking about our values and system, and where is the value of joy and zest for life and creativity and shining your light and being who you really want to be, like being true to your true soul essence and shining that light and claiming your childhood joy. Okay, so that Venus is speaking to how important that is, absolutely necessary. That's how we break out of the paradigm. If we keep going the way we're going, that's about technological control energies on the planet, turning us into robots, like taking over our whole human essence and just folding us into the AI, artificial intelligence. And that is actually the energy of this false God. Is literally like, it's an artificial intelligence. And the true God, true soul, true consciousness, true oneness consciousness of where we all come from is one thing. It's love, and that is alive and organic, and the beauty of the consciousness, the beauty of the cosmos. And so we need to go up above the paradigms and up around these control energies and claim back that connection to source. And we do that through our individual creative expression. So the Venus has been triggering the North Node as it moved into Leo, and it's kind of speaking of the importance of the value of our creative expression and our individuality and our shining our light and claiming joy. Absolutely essential in moving forward. Okay, so then Venus comes into this square with Jupiter. This leads right up to the full moon. And Jupiter is about to take a retrograde. Jupiter is in retrograde. It's about to turn direct. Now, this is powerful because right now we have Neptune retrograde, and we've got Saturn retrograde, and we've got Jupiter retrograde, and Mars is about to take a retrograde. And it's kind of like, like all of our main action, big planets around feeling like moving forward, Saturn and Mars, in retrograde. So it'll feel actually really refreshing because Jupiter's gone through this deep energy in Scorpio, kind of going back over these shadowy places that need to be resolved. So we're actually going to see a bloom of these things as Jupiter turns direct, but it's this huge opportunity to release, to recognize what's been holding you back, to recognize these deep subconscious patterns and programming in the collective as well as the individual, and be able to like, oh, well, there it is. It's the spotlight is on. Now I see it. I'm going to get rid of it. That is not who I am, right? So we're all being controlled by these subconscious belief systems. The way we've been complicit in this control energy is through its programming, through trauma that's happened in past lives and in our human evolution and our whole collective consciousness. And so we're stuck in these patterns, and that's how, when we're stuck in these patterns, you just play those out. You know this feeling. You're like, I thought I dealt with that, and it's back, and it's pulling me back down into some bad places. And so Jupiter turning direct is going to be really potent to be like revealing the shadow. When the shadow's hidden from us, it's really hard to clear. And so we've been doing this internal mucky muck kind of place where we're kind of like lost in the muck, and what is it and whose is it, and I don't know, like how to even release it and let go. So I think with Jupiter turning direct, that doesn't happen until July 10th, but Jupiter at this full moon will already be at the degree. At 13 degrees is where it turns direct. So it's already at 13 degrees. It's getting ready to station direct. And so we're going to start to feel this push towards illuminating and bringing to the surface these hidden shadowy patterns that are not the truth of who we are. And so again, the shadowy stuff that's not the truth of who we are that's coming up right now has to do with where we've given our power away and where we've been complicit and been down on our knees as humans on this planet, and we need to take back our reality. So that's the energy around this. With Venus comes into that square, Venus in Leo, shine your light, claim your joy, and squaring up with Jupiter in Scorpio. And it's kind of like, okay, that tells us right there, like what's in the way of claiming your joy, your zest for life. So many of us are just kind of getting through, and the point of this existence is kind of wearing down because, if as starseeds, indigos, those of you who are watching this video, like you came here to Earth for a very specific reason. You worked your ass off through many lifetimes and evolutions to be right here, right now, and it feels like you're in the wrong place. It feels like, who put me here and who are these people, And so it can get really frustrating. Like, I have all of these beautiful set of skills. Nobody gives a shit about it. And I have no idea what to do with it. And there's no systems in this world that can support it. And I have all this love to give to the world. I have all these gifts, but there's nowhere. That's the old paradigm, right? It's like you're going to come up against wall after wall after wall trying to bring this new energy into the old paradigm. We have to move into the new energy, and that's what's going on right now. The tension is around our attachment to the way it's been done. This is energetically, invisibly, it's physically, it's spiritually, emotionally, patterns that we're so used to, we just keep playing out. So that's some powerful energy with Venus making that square coming up to this full moon and saying that the shadow energy that's kept us back has a lot to do with power and authority and our inability to claim our sovereignty as humans. And part of this energy comes up like, oh, you could just never win against this energy, like there's just this oppressive force that's in charge of whether we get to do anything good on this planet, or whether we have to stay in guilt and shame about how we're treating the planet, even though we have all these solutions. And it's just like, well, I can't go up against tanks and guns, so what am I going to do? and like the illusion that the new energy that's coming in is like, whoa, like tanks and guns can only take you so far, like the higher evolutionary experience of like higher dimensional beings, that's not the security force. It doesn't work. The security force is using your empathic abilities and your ability to see on deeper levels. And that's where the true value is as we move into our future. But it feels like everything, and it's like the forces, the duality is at its highest point right now, you know? So it's like all this light is trying to come to the planet. The baby's being born right now, pure light, pure, true essence of light. Maybe never been on Earth before, but lots of other experiences and other evolutions, but huge light coming to the Earth. And of course, the paradigm of control has to clamp down, right? So that's where we're at. And it just, you know, the Capricorn energy can bring this feeling of like, I can never win. You know, like I can never win against this energy. Why even try? But it's kind of cool because it can bring us to a point of surrender. And that's where we need to be right now, is kind of, it's like we don't want to surrender and allow ourselves to continue to be controlled in that way. But we have to surrender to the higher, bigger purpose. Surrender to the fact that we chose to be complicit to this, and we can choose not to be anymore. And we can know that our higher self has our back, and that there's a reason behind all of this, and it's beautiful, and it's so hopeful, and it's so great, but we're just not, you know, we're not, it's hard to tap into that energy right now. You have to, this is why you're here on the planet, because you're a visionary, and you know that there's a different way to live, and you know there's a different way to be, and you have to bring that light, and you have to bring that vision of possibility. And, you know, it's hard because sometimes it just feels so dark and impossible, and nobody around you cares. They're just part of the machine. Give me my iPhone, I'm cool, you know? And it's like, you know, it's kind of like, what's going on here? But this is when we get to the point of like, oh gosh, you know, like there's gotta be, you know, there's got to be another reason why I am here, you know? And that is when we can break through to this connection with our higher self, to this connection to source energy, and be like, oh, this is really difficult sometimes, but it's bringing me to a place of just like absolutely claiming the point of existence and living it and being true to it, no matter what's going on in the people around you. And that is when you can begin to really use, see, so it's invisible. What we really came to do right now is invisible. And it's hard when we get caught up in not accomplishing or doing anything, or provide, you know, difficulties providing for ourselves and things like that in this 3D world. The work you're doing is energetic. It's profound. It's absolutely necessary. There's deep gratitude on multiple levels of cosmic intelligence that you're here doing this. And so it's almost like you have to get to that end of the road place before you can break through and be like, oh God, there's this like this, what I'm seeing right here, right now, this is not actually the truth of what's going on. It's so much bigger, so much wider. And I am here to be here and to live and to breathe and to hold this vision that I know there's something else. And then when things start to happen, which it's going to happen, we've been holding off these massive changes in our reality for far too long, and they're gonna land starting this summer, you know? And it's like, as the world changes and people in this who are used to this paradigm start to feel really uncomfortable, that's where you come in. Because you're like, oh, yeah, I know this is bullshit, you know? Like, don't get too caught up in this stuff. It's okay, we're shifting into something new and different and beautiful, it's okay. That's why you're here. And so it's not gonna make sense. And it's not gonna feel like you're actually, you know, on your path or anything's happening, because it's totally invisible what we're doing right now. And so just keep that in mind and know that like all of these issues around your own sovereignty and your ability and your right, like as a light worker, if you're one of these people who's on the planet right now in this situation, you had to go through a bunch of trauma to get here. And you've been targeted as a soul and programmed with trauma so that you keep producing trauma because you're a visionary, right? And that's where we have to go, that's just a story. Like, that's not who I am. Like, I know there's so much more than that. And to claim your spiritual autonomy and start living and breathing something different. And, but those things are coming up right now. Like, where we have allowed our reality to be hijacked, our consciousness to be hijacked from programming, trauma-based programming from past lives, where we've been targeted and horrible things happen. We blamed ourselves. We feel like huge failures. What's the point? Why even go forward? You know? And it's like, that's actually the point. Like, because if all of these light workers and indigo souls and crystal seeds just automatically came out of this trauma-based programming, the world would change in an instant. And it's happening. It's happening right now. So it's like everything that's going on right now in the stars is like we're coming up against this brick wall. It's just like you cannot go further this way. You cannot keep that baggage. You cannot keep that belief system that you are defeated, that you can't win against this monster, that you don't have a point and a purpose to your life. Like, that shit has to end, and we have to move into a new way. But sometimes you can't see the new way until you get to the end of the road. And so this is what this astrology is about. The deep dark secrets in the psyche being revealed in order to be cleaned and healed and released. And this is the thing, it's just like when you have stuff in the shadow in our collective consciousness or personal consciousness, and it's not resolved, and you might not even know what it is from past lives or from your early childhood, but it's going to keep affecting you. You can't just keep it under the rug any longer. And that's what's going on in our world too. Like in the political system and stuff, it's like there's massive amounts of corruption and control energy. And until we face the truth of that the people we trusted with our systems did not have our best interest at heart, basically want to keep us down, keep the technology that's available from us, keep us in guilt and shame about how we treat our planet, while they withhold the technology that can make it work. So we're just, everything is being revealed in order for us to say, oh yeah, no, that's been like, like showing me like my reality, but dictating my reality, but that's not me. Like, that is not my vibration. This is what's going on with the indigo souls in particular, is that they're holding karma. When they got targeted and things like that happened with the trauma-based programming in past life, they were often in leadership positions, taking responsibility for other people, and then they blamed themselves. And it's like something might have happened where people got hurt or killed, but that was a setup, and that's not what you wanted. You never wanted that. Like, that's not your karma. So the indigo souls are carrying this huge earth karma, going back to like a big example is like the fall of Atlantis, when that catastrophe occurred. And all the indigo souls a lot of them feel like they were all on Atlantis, and they're like, somehow it's all directly their fault that the whole planet, basically, all humanity was extinguished, and the continents were like moving around and stuff and sinking and all that. And it's like, oh, that's massive destruction, and that's somehow my fault. That is the karma that these indigos are carrying. And it's like, no, these indigo souls, the crystal seeds and the light workers are pure. You've worked for many, many evolutions before you even came to Earth to purify your soul essence, and we have to claim that back and lift off this karma and give it back to the controllers and say, okay, this is not mine. You cannot heal karma that's not your own. You can feel bad about it. You can feel shameful about it. But in this way, in karma, I mean contractual arrangements where it feels like you owe somebody or they owe you. In this case, the indigos feel like they owe the whole planet. And they're trying to heal the whole planet, but it's like until you can let go of this karma and claim that purity, pure essence of your soul, and who you really are, and claim back that is the authority. That's the most powerful force in the universe, is our pure essence of soul that connects us to the cosmic consciousness out beyond all of this framework of paradigm, reality, mental construct. And so that's really what's going on in the cosmos. And so it's intense because it's showing us what's hidden, but it's been controlling us. So let's get rid of it, So that's going on with the Venus square Jupiter, and that's leading up to this full moon and through the full moon. And then what's happening on the full moon is that, we talked about this, how Saturn and the moon are conjunct, and so that means the sun is opposite Saturn. Okay, so the sun represents our identity, like who we are and our confidence, and this is kind of like showing us, the moon is our emotions, And when it's full, it's like a full expression of our emotions. And then hanging out with Saturn and opposing our identity of who we think we are, it's like this is shadowing our ability to shine. You know, our false authority, our giving our power away, and through emotional control, right? So it's interesting because it's emotional control, the Cancer energy. The moon rules Cancer, but the sun is in Cancer, opposite of the moon and Saturn. And so it's like, this is what's in the way of you being who you really are and doing what you really want to do on this planet in this lifetime. And it's being shown right now on this full moon. And so the other thing that's happening is that Mercury is in a square with Uranus. So Mercury made an opposition with Pluto. First, okay, so we talked about that just happened with Venus, right? Venus just came in and triggered these Pluto-Uranus square. First making an opposition with Pluto, then a square with Uranus. Now Mercury's doing that. So when our personal planets are triggering this bigger generational change, it's like bringing it home, bringing it personal. And it's an interesting thing because Uranus is now in Taurus. So Mercury will have moved into Leo and then is squaring Uranus in Taurus. And so it's, you know, Mercury wants us to understand. Mercury's the scribe, it's the messenger. It's like, how do we make sense in our everyday reality of what's going on? And so that's the really intense energy coming up, is understanding in our conceptual reality more about what these generational changes are, the moving into the Aquarian age. What's that really about? What's that mean in my personal life? So that's kind of an interesting energy because it's like Mercury's kind of, you know, Venus was kind of like, what's our value system here? What do we need to do? You know, what's important to make these changes? And Mercury's like, what is it really about? So there's some clarity that I think can come from this, and especially along with that Jupiter getting ready to turn direct. So July is going to be pretty potent as we kind of move into this new energy and start to get some clarity, start to see the truth, and start to be able to adjust our lives a little bit better. It's like we've been floundering around in the dark, you know, without the light on, trying to clean out the closet, and it's not working. And so the light is coming, and it's kind of gonna not look pretty, right? You kind of rather have the light off with all that crap in the closet, but you got to turn it on to clean it up. And so that's kind of what July is about. And so this Mercury squaring Uranus and opposing Pluto right before that. So that happens right at this full moon, and it goes into July, the energy. And so it's interesting because this Independence Day, you know, our 4th of July energy, it's pretty powerful because we're looking at these issues of our autonomy, our spiritual autonomy and freedom. What does freedom really mean? You know, because we had an American Revolution, we fought for freedom, but we didn't really get that freedom. You know, we didn't really win. And now we're having to do it again on a bigger cosmic scale, the whole planet. You know, and so this Independence Day is really like, it's like we're sharing our American holiday with the whole world on this other level. But so that's basically what's going on. We're getting some clarity. We're looking at the dark. We're finding these things that have been, you know, controlling us from and creating our reality from our subconscious so that we can clean it up and create our own reality. And that's really what the age of Aquarius is about. And that's what Mars is trying to figure out in this retrograde. So check out, I'm going to do a video on Mars retrograde. And that goes all the way until August, doesn't come out of shadow until the beginning of October. So that's going to be a huge, the Mars retrograde totally flavors this whole summer of astrology. So I hope you can join me for the activation for this full moon. I'm going to do it on at noon on Tuesday, the 26th, noon Mountain Standard Time. That's 11 a.m. Pacific and 2 p.m. on the East Coast. So that'll be Tuesday, the 26th. And I hope you can join me for that. And really, the focus of this activation seems to be about claiming our own spiritual and emotional and physical autonomy in this world, and releasing what is in the way from us claiming our right to exist as humans in the way we want to, live our life the way we want to, and look at where we've given our power away, where we've been complicit in this kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever, this, I'll just give it all away. And allowing forces to feed on us when we want to take this energy and use it for what we really want, for what humanity really needs, what's really good for all of us, and create this better world, what this Aquarian age is all about. So I hope to see you on the activation. Until next time, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.